morning and welcome back to Family Meeting Podcast. I'm Thomas. This is my beautiful wife, Lysandra, sipping on her coffee and is ready to go today for another great episode. Lysandra is currently in Iowa.
I am.
Right?
I am in Iowa, and you are in Florida.
I might be in Iowa at this point.
Oh, that's true. This might be the time that you come to visit.
Stop to visit a little bit. We're recording a few episodes ahead of time before she leaves town. Typically, we record the week of, but making sure we have everything to roll so each episode can just continue to go out, even though the best podcast host on the podcast is going to be out of town for a couple weeks. So
yeah,
we hope that you are having a great time. She's back visiting family, got 4, 5, 6 paint jobs in Iowa lined up, ready to go. So she can pay for my Florida lifestyle even when she's gone.
You are a lucky man.
Yeah, I am an extremely lucky man. We went to the beach today for family day, and it was the perfect morning.
It was beautiful.
The waves were kind of quiet, so we could just go out and swim, have a good time. There's nice little breeze blowing. Wasn't too hot, wasn't too cold. It was literally like the Goldilocks zone. Perfect, just right.
It was wonderful. I enjoyed it so much, but we had a big problem. About an hour into the beach, I read the end of my book.
Yeah, so she got bored.
And all of a sudden I was like, oh no, I have nothing more to read. What do I do?
She does not know how to chill or relax.
I do not.
So doesn't like to play in the water.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I like to be in the water, but only for like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So it's not true that I don't like to be in the water. It's that I don't want to be out there for hours. Like him and the kids were out there for hours.
Yep, just playing in the waves, having a good time.
Probably 2 hours.
Yeah.
I think. But what I learned today is if we go to the beach and I have about 20% of a book left, I need to get a new book and have it loaded and ready to go in the Kindle before we leave.
Yeah.
That's what we learned.
Well, and we talked about this the last episode. Lysandra doesn't she likes to work. She likes to always be doing something, being occupied. Mm-hmm. I'll give a little report on that as we dive into the podcast episode to give you a little update on how the week has gone for that. But things are going well here. We'd love to hear what's going on in your life and in your world. Drop it in the comments there and give Lysandra some ideas of what to do while she's at the beach.
Yes, I need help.
Even if she can't read her book.
I can't search for seashells anymore because we have so many in the house that it's like, it's just too many. So
yeah,
I can't bring any seashells home. So that one's out.
Okay, episode 299. That means next week is it. Episode 300, the entire family together. It is going to be a good time. One of the best episodes out of all 300. So,
wow,
you don't want to miss it. Okay,
that is high praise.
It's going to be dropping 6 a.m. next Wednesday, 1 week from today. Episode 299 is first, though, and we're going to be talking about how to help your kids that have anxiety, and maybe you have it yourself, you're dealing with your kids. As we get into the episode and you have some tips and suggestions, things that work for your kids and for you, we'd love to hear about it. Yes. So make sure that you are dropping those tips and that advice and feedback in the comments. Mm-hmm. That'll be a help to everyone else who listens to it as well. So I think we're ready to jump into it for today. This, other than 300, this is going to be kind of the last time that you're going to watch a video of us recording the audio podcast, because 301, we are making the transition to video first. So it's going to be different.
Which means, like, I'm not techie. I'm not in the world. I don't know what I'm doing. Does that mean that the podcast listeners will just be listening to a YouTube video, basically?
No.
No, okay. So I don't know, obviously.
They will be listening to the podcast that we are recording. So, like, right now, we're not recording the podcast. This is all pre-stuff. We're kind of chatting and just spending time with YouTube. So, the podcast will be video first. So, which is exact swap of what's going on right now.
We're going to have an off-air discussion because I still have no idea what he's talking about.
What you see here, all this is going to be different.
Yeah.
Different setup.
Well, and actually, you said that episode 300, and then it's going to change. But the truth is, this is the last episode with this palette wall.
It very well could be. Very well could be. We have an idea for a background that we may, just depends. Do you think this wall should stay the background?
I want this wall to stay the background for two reasons. Number one, I built this wall and I love it, and I feel like it is like part of us because it is beachy and everything.
Well, we had some people into our house this past Sunday who watched the podcast, first time coming to our house, and they walk in and they're like, "It's the wall. I recognize the wall." So I have an idea for a background. We'll see how it plays out and how it works. If you never see the background, then you know it didn't work out.
Okay, and then here's the other reason I want it to be here, because I
You
do
wanna look
like
out
the
the window.
window. I like
I
the
know.
window, you guys. And listen,
You're so distracted.
whether or not I get distracted, I feel like the window is worth it. Tell me that I'm right. Tell Thomas you want me to face the window. Tell him that you love how happy I am looking out the window. Tell him that you want me to enjoy the window. I need you.
The thing is, if we use this wall, that means still moving a lot of furniture. So the goal is
Yeah.
to move less furniture in the house.
We were trying, yeah.
So we'll see. There's still some debate about how things are going to unfold, but there will be some changes for sure.
Put it this way, I'm open.
Yeah.
I'm open-minded. I'm willing to change.
No, you're not.
I'm open to change.
You're the least open-minded to change person I know.
I'm so chill.
Yeah.
So chill.
Very much so. We can all tell. Gather round, everybody. It's time for a family meeting. The Family Meeting is a show that's all about family relationships. We're the Osterkamps. I'm Thomas, and this is my super chill, open to any kind of change wife, Lysandra.
Whatever.
I'm lying.
Hello and welcome to our family. Welcome to episode 299 of the Family Meeting Podcast.
299. You know what that means?
Whoa! That means 300 is next because I can count.
Yes, only one more episode until 300.
Yes, I'm feeling high energy today because 300 is next week and that's going to be amazing. It's quite a milestone for us as podcasters, but also 300 is so special because we are going to have our 4 favorite people on this podcast. We are going to have our 4 daughters, and they are going to come on with us, and we are going to have a real family meeting, and I'm super excited.
So I just did a quick search,
Okay.
and I want to give you this bit of information.
Okay, I'm ready.
Less than 1% of all podcasts ever reach 300 episodes.
Whoa, that means we're special. We don't
Yes.
usually get told we're special, baby.
Yes. So the first drop off, 90% of podcasts do not survive their first 3 to 10 episodes. Okay?
Which that doesn't surprise me at all because until we did it, I didn't know how difficult it was to be consistent.
Only about 5% to 6% ever managed to reach 100 episodes. So right now we're already in the top 95%. Next week, 1 week from today, we'll be in the top 1% of podcasts as far as the number of episodes. So you have helped us reach an elite status. It's a milestone.
It is.
a milestone.
And we want you to celebrate with us.
And we're going to celebrate with probably the best episode of the entire 300.
Especially if you like laughter and real family life.
Kids tell stories. It is a real picture of what a family meeting looks like around our house.
It is. And it really shows who the Osterkamps are in real time. Like, I mean, it's very real. In fact, there was one spot in the middle of the podcast where
She's like starting to cry.
well, that was at the end. I was talking about the time when one of our children said a word that I did not want them to say.
Yeah.
It wasn't quite a swear word. Well, I guess
I mean,
some people might call it a swear
it's
word.
It's not a swear word. We'll let you all decide next week if it's a
Yeah,
swear word. But
you'll just have to
Lysandra
tune in.
really doesn't like it.
But I don't like that word at all, and they know that. And one of my daughters said it, and I was like,
Well, what's funny is she didn't realize she said it.
yeah.
And as soon as she said it, like I started smiling and almost cracking up because I knew that you were freaking out.
You
inside.
could see how mad I was.
Yeah.
So anyway, but that's real life. Like that is so real family, because it's always like mom being upset that the kids did something and dad thinking it's funny. It's like totally real.
Yep.
But anyway, let's talk about today. Today's $2.99, and today we're going to discuss how to help your kids if they have anxiety. And this comes into play so much these days.
Yes.
Like anxiety is everywhere. Your kids might have it, you might have it. So hopefully today's episode will help you and your family.
So before we jump into that, though, I wanted to give you just a little sneak peek into some events we've got coming up. This October is action-packed. Wherever you are in the country, you'll have a good chance to come and see us, mostly in Florida and in the East Coast, Upper Midwest. So we have October 1st through 3rd. We'll be in Pennsylvania for a marriage retreat there. October 8th through 11th, we'll be with Grace in Brandon, Florida for their men's retreat and for their missions month. I'll be talking about church planning and stuff on that Sunday. Let's see, this is October 23rd and 24th. We will be up in Lexington, Michigan, right on one of the Great Lakes. Which one is that? I forget which Lake Erie. I think it's Lake Erie. Okay. Now I got to pull
I'm
up.
quiet because
I got to pull up. Oh, shoot. I got to pull up the map. Okay.
I'm so bad with like geography and stuff. I'm really, really bad. I'm pretty good with like states, where the states are, but when it comes to lakes and some countries, I'm real bad.
Lake Huron. Lake Huron. Right on Lake Huron.
Well, we've done a conference on Huron.
I don't think so.
Didn't we stay right across from the lake? Was that not Huron?
No, it was not.
Oh, what was that?
Cleveland. Lake Erie, I think. Lake Erie. Yeah, it was Lake Erie.
Okay.
So up in Lake Huron in Lexington, Kentucky, that is the 23rd and the 24th. And then on Sunday the 25th, we will be with Pastor James Bell at First Baptist of Fenton, Michigan for a marriage day there. So a lot going on in October. We would love to see you at one of those events. Make sure you're paying attention to all of our socials for all the information that you need.
All right, sounds good. Let's talk about anxiety, because more kids than ever are dealing with anxious thoughts and having feelings of being completely overwhelmed, stress. Like children are experiencing stress. And many parents feel unsure how to help their kids without making things worse. And the truth is we can make them worse. I've done it before, where my kid is nervous about something or upset about something, and I say just the wrong thing. And you're trying, your intentions are good, you're trying to help, but then you say something that just makes it so much worse. So today we're going to talk about how you as parents can wisely support your children if they struggle with anxiety and create safety, create in them resilience, help them with healthy coping patterns right now in your home, and then they'll take these things into adulthood with them.
So I want to say this as we just right away as we jump into the episode. If you feel like your child is really struggling with anxiety, find a good Christian therapist that can help you guys out with this. We've had multiple of our children
3 of 4
talk to a therapist, and it's always been a helpful situation.
Yep.
None of them have needed it for the long term. It's just they had certain things they needed to talk through and work out, and it's been so helpful. And
it has been good.
Want to encourage you not to be afraid of finding a good Christian counselor, Christian therapist who can help you with this.
And I would like to also say that maybe you don't even know where to start with that. I would be happy to recommend the 2 people that we used, and one is like a licensed therapist, and one is has like a course that she has done. So depending on like what caliber you're looking for, I can help you with that. Both are incredibly affordable and both do Zoom. So no matter where you are in the country or in the world, this could be someone that could help you. Let us know, and I would be happy to share that information with you. You can connect through info@familymeeting.org, or find me on my socials, Lysandra Osterkamp. There's not very many of us in the world.
Yeah, so easy to find, simple way, info@familymeeting.org, and we can connect that way and get you the information that you need for that. But as I mentioned, it was super helpful for us. So as we, I wanted to get that out of the way first of all, and then let's start by just pointing out some common signs of anxiety in children and teens.
Yeah, because this is an important place to start, in my opinion, because how do you know what's just normal? Like, my kid has this concern. So what's just like normal concern for a child, and where does it cross into the line of anxiety?
Yeah, because as we know, like, growing up is challenging. You're going through all these changes and, transitions in life, a lot happening, a lot going on. And so these are some signs to be watching out for, that it's maybe a little bit more than just the ordinary concerns that come with growing up in the world. So, I think one of the first things to watch out for are physical complaints without a clear medical cause. So anxiety frequently shows up in the body first. We see this with stress as well, but a lot of times it's things that are going on inside of us. They do work their way out into our bodies and how we feel and all those sorts of things. It's one of the reasons why Lysandra and I talk about finding emotional healing and stuff from the things that you've gone through in your past. Because we often try to stuff things down and lock it up and box it away and not think of it. But it always makes its way out into your life somehow. And the same is true when it comes to anxiety. And so think about if your child is complaining a lot about stomach aches, headaches, nausea, fatigue, or trouble sleeping. And obviously, if you have some chronic things going on, you want to see a medical professional to make sure there's nothing physically going on. But a lot of times there's nothing really going on. It's just I have anxiety about X, Y, or Z and getting to the bottom of it. I had one of my brothers who had some issues with anxiety about the school that he was going to, and it caused him a lot of problems. He really didn't have any health problems that they could find. It was literally, he was anxious about going to this school, and once he was taken out of that environment, the anxiety subsided, and the issues that he had pretty much went away. So it may happen, maybe they're complaining before school, or social events, tests, separation from parents. And a lot of times that will give you kind of the hint of this is the thing that's really causing the anxiety, so you can kind of help try to figure that out. But physical complaints, when there really isn't a medical cause for it. A lot of times it's not your kid just making up something because he or she doesn't want to go to school. There's a real issue behind it.
Absolutely. Another sign can be irritability or emotional outbursts. Now I know you're like, wait a minute,
I've got 4 teenage daughters. Like,
well, and when we had 4 toddler daughters, like, oh my goodness, when they were all like kindergarten and under, the amount of emotional outbursts were insane. And then irritability came like with puberty and everything. So, but understanding that this is not always, it's not like every time your child is irritable doesn't mean that they have anxiety, right?
Right. It's just, this is happening a lot.
Yes, right.
Especially associated with certain things.
Right. So it might come out like in short tempers, frustration, like continuous, constant, chronic frustration, crying easily or crying frequently, meltdowns, and we're talking like frequent meltdowns. If your daughter is having a meltdown once a month, I would not panic. That's to be expected. Kind of unusual defensiveness, right? And so teens in particular may look moody when they're actually overwhelmed internally. So is this just moody, or is this child anxious? Yeah. Well, I'm not gonna say what I was about to say because it's coming up in the episode, and I don't want to.
Spoiler.
I don't want to say too much. I'm going to ruin the episode.
You got to say too much.
I'm going to wait. It'll
All right.
come.
Well, we look forward to that with anticipation
I know you can't wait.
Here. Also, pay attention to avoidance of certain situations. We talk about this when we talk about like sexual abuse and making sure, pay attention to your kids if they don't want to be around certain people or whatever. But sometimes it has to do with certain situations. Anxious child often tries to avoid what feels emotionally unsafe, whether that's refusing to go to school, avoiding social activities, not wanting to sleep alone. Maybe they're procrastinating and pushing off difficult tasks, withdrawing from sports or hobbies they once enjoyed. So they're trying to keep themselves out of the circumstance that causes the anxiety in the first place. So you have this avoidance, which temporarily reduces anxiety, which is why it can become a repeated pattern.
Mm-hmm. Right. And avoidance really isn't the answer.
No.
We're going to talk about answers in a minute, but
what are the answers?
I can't tell you, babe. You've got to wait. You're so excited.
I know.
Just wait.
So I want to know. I want to know how to help them.
Yeah, you're anxious until I can give you the answers.
Well, I don't know about that.
All right. So another sign that your child may be struggling with anxiety is excessive reassurance seeking. They are constantly needing reassurance on everything, right? So children and teens with anxiety may repeatedly ask questions like, are you sure? Are you sure? Are you sure? Right? What if something bad happens? Do you still love me? Will I fail? What if I make a mistake? Are you mad at me? You seem like you're mad at me. Are you mad at me? Okay, these are kids who they're struggling with the anxiety, and they're constantly looking for reassurance from the people in authority over them, or the people who are supposed to love them most. And they often struggle to tolerate uncertainty. It makes that anxiety even worse. And they may need constant reassurance just to simply feel calm, and to feel like they're going to be okay. And so if your child is doing that frequently, asking you those questions frequently, then it might be anxiety.
Think about also changes in concentration or behavior. So anxiety can affect focus, memory, and emotional regulation, which makes sense, right? If they're so focused in on whatever is causing the anxiety, then they may not be able to pay attention at school like they once did. And so grades can be affected and all of that sort of thing. They might have trouble remembering what they're supposed to do, where they're supposed to be, and all of that kind of thing. And we've already talked about the outbursts and all of that. But you might notice difficulty concentrating in school.
Yeah.
Restlessness or fidgeting. Maybe it's perfectionism. Got to have everything just exactly right. Overthinking mistakes, which we have one child who tends to do this. Mm-hmm. Maybe it's sudden clinginess. Changes in eating or sleeping habits, whether it's all of a sudden they're like binge eating or avoiding eating at all. Mm-hmm. Sometimes anxiety is mistaken for laziness, defiance, or lack of motivation when the child is actually operating in a constant state of stress, which causes its own set of issues. So it might not necessarily be they're dealing with those things. It's the underlying cause for it is stress. Right.
And I think about that change of eating. So like the first point that you made, Thomas, was the physical signs with no real health issue. So like if your child has gut issues, right, and they have issues with their stomach, of course, they're not going to want to eat. Like when I eat, I get sick, so I'm not going to eat anymore. So it can be like this, like hand in hand, right?
Yeah.
Now, all parents, every single one of us, we have a desire to help our children, whether it's anxiety or anger or confusion or stress or whatever the thing that they deal with is, we want to help them. And we have good intentions. Usually our hearts are in the right place. But that doesn't mean we always do and say the right thing.
Yeah.
And there are things that we as parents can do that unintentionally increase the anxiety. So while we're trying to help, we are actually making it wrong. And some of the things that we can do can actually hurt, and it doesn't seem like it could, like constant reassurance, right? It sounds good, but when you repeatedly rescue your child from uncertainty, what that can actually do is unintentionally teach them that anxiety is dangerous and it must always be eliminated immediately. So if you're constantly rescuing them from whatever it may be that causes them anxiety, or that we're just trying to eliminate the anxiety, that can communicate a negative thing. Sometimes it's good to say, like, okay, this causes you anxiety and we're going to do it anyway, and you're going to find out that you're going to be okay.
Yeah. Because the bad thing that happens is if we teach them that feeling any anxiety at all is a horrible thing, then when they feel the anxiety, they start to get anxious about that.
Yeah, exactly.
And we've kind of really elevated the situation here.
Yeah. And let's be honest, every single one of us has had to do things with anxiety. Like,
we all have to a lot, all the time.
Yeah. So we can't be training our kids like, oh, if you feel anxiety, you just don't do that thing.
Yeah.
Like, that's pretty dangerous.
No. And it does happen. Like
yeah, absolutely.
There's times where I have to have certain hard conversations with people that I don't want to have. And I do get anxious.
Right.
Like before I make that telephone call,
Mm-hmm.
and had a situation just within the last week or so, and picked up the phone to call somebody to have a difficult conversation that I couldn't have in person. And it took me a second. Like, I'm kind of thinking about it, and like, okay, I'm literally telling myself, like, push the call button now. And so that's going to happen all throughout our lives. We can't totally avoid and eliminate the difficult things in life that stir up a little bit of anxiety in us. We need to learn how to work our way through it, to deal with it and manage it.
Right.
So,
which is a perfect intro to the next point of things that we can do.
yes. So one of the things that we can do to unintentionally increase anxiety is to overprotect, or by preventing discomfort.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a natural thing as parents. We want to shield our children from pain, from embarrassment, from failure. Like, I don't want my kids to have to go through that. But all of those things are good things for our children, obviously within reason.
Yeah, right.
Right, to go through. And I think about one of our daughters when some little boy broke her heart. And I still remember her, like, falling to the ground and tears puddling and flooding the floor. Man, that is heartbreaking as a parent, and you wish you could prevent that. But through these things, we learn a lot. We grow a lot. And part of that learning is how to cope and deal with situations that we're going to have for the rest of our lives. And so here's some examples of what this looks like, this overprotection or the preventing of discomfort. Letting them avoid all stressful situations.
Not a good idea.
So it's like, if it causes stress, we just give them an automatic way out of it.
So I have two examples of our daughters, and I won't tell whose names or anything, but one of our daughters was like ready to enter the job field, and she is filling out applications, and then we hopped in the car, and I'm like, okay, we're going to go to these places that you just filled out applications, and you're going to go in, and you're going to go by yourself, because it's not going to look good to the employer. Mommy holding your hand. I was like, you're going alone, and you're going to go up to the counter, and you're going to say, I need to speak to the hiring manager, please. When they come out, you're going to say this, and see if you can get a job, right? And so we did this at multiple places, and she was in the car bawling her eyes out. Just from anxiety, and she was able to name it. She was able to say, like, this is giving me such anxiety, and she's crying, and I'm like, I'm sorry that this is, this is hard. I know this is hard for you, but you have to do it. You do not have a choice. Get out of the car. Go. I had to force her to, and I didn't like doing that. Like, it was very uncomfortable for me. I would have liked to save her that pain, but at the same time, I knew if I let her sit in the car and not get a job, like, that's hurting her in a much greater way. Yeah. And sure enough, one of those places she did get a job. So that was one example.
Well, and it's like, it's a safe situation for her to be uncomfortable and feel that.
Yeah, absolutely. So here's another one. There was a boy who is very interested in one of our daughters and wrote a very lovely love note.
I remember this, yes.
And she was so upset because she didn't feel that way about him, but she didn't know how to say no thank you, essentially.
Well, and she's very kind and she's very
Yes.
thoughtful, didn't want to hurt this young man.
Didn't want to hurt his feelings. So she wrote a letter back, also returning an expensive gift saying, thank you, but I cannot accept this. I would like to just be friends. And the note was very well written, and it was kind, and it was gentle. And then she had to give it to him.
Yeah.
And so there was so much anxiety about writing that letter. But I kind of like, you gotta do it. You gotta write the letter. So then she's got the letter written, and it took like, I want to say 2 to 3 weeks for her to actually give him that letter.
Yep.
And that poor kid was probably in so much anxiety waiting for a response.
Exactly, yeah.
So I feel bad for him too. But I finally had to be like the tough, hard mom and be like, you are going to give him the letter today.
Yeah.
Like, you will not go home until he has that letter in his hand, and like be all tough about it. But those are 2 examples of like where both of my kids were having anxiety in different ways, different scenarios. And I knew I could not just like prevent the discomfort. I couldn't just let them avoid the stressful situation. It was like the only way is through.
Yeah.
You have to go through this. And
this kind of leads into the next example, and that is speaking for them in every social interaction.
Yeah.
And so, for those of you that are new to the podcast, Lysandra and I lead Beachside Community Church together, which means we're often interacting with families, and it's always interesting. We try to have all guests into our home for a meal and to spend time with them, get to know them a little bit, let them get to know us, and part of that is interacting with their kids also. And it's funny to kind of watch the way that certain kids react in that circumstance where they don't really know how to talk to an adult who is a stranger. And, sometimes parents are doing exactly this, where it's like they don't even give them the chance to interact or to answer or speak for themselves. And part of that is, I believe, want to protect them from the discomfort. They know it's a little anxious for their child to be put on the spot and in that situation. And another one is removing every challenge or consequence. So it's good for our kids to experience challenges and also consequences for their actions. Our kids need to learn that there are consequences to our actions, and they need to go through some discomfort and face some challenges. It's through the challenges where growth happens. When they experience manageable discomfort with support nearby, we're not talking about just like some sort of bird where we're just throwing out of the nest, and if you fly, you fly, and if you don't, then you die. It's like, no, we're putting them in age-appropriate, and growth-appropriate, mental-appropriate situations that will stretch them. And that's a very good thing. But when we overprotect and prevent discomfort, we are unintentionally causing more anxiety in the long run.
Right. Here's another thing that you can do that actually it makes the anxiety worse for your children, and that is modeling high anxiety yourself and being a high anxiety person. And you got to understand that your children are they're absorbing your emotional cues. We don't even realize it sometimes, but they are. Everything that we do, they are sensing it. And I think about this when I had infants. I had infants, and I would nurse them. And when I was anxious because I was worried about them like not eating enough, not sleeping enough, are they okay? Are they gaining enough weight? All the like panic stuff that you can panic about as a new mom.
Yep.
And I would try to nurse that baby, and it was like that baby could just sense how panicked and stressed I was, and it was like my baby was reacting and responding to that stress with their own stress.
Yep.
And that's an infant. So like think about as our children grow, how much more in tune they are with us and with what's going on around them. So as you panic openly, or if you start assuming the worst case scenario in like all the time, I'm going from like 0 to 100 right away. And they're hearing this and they're seeing this. They're absorbing that. They're internalizing that themselves. If you speak fearfully about everyday situations, then they're going to mirror that. They're going to, see things fearfully as well. And I think about like that kind of helicopter mom that we can be. Maybe you're a helicopter dad. But if you are constantly telling your child, like, that's going to hurt you, that's going to end in disaster, like, they're going to start believing all of that. And they're going to be afraid of everything, and everything is going to cause them anxiety. So just really think about the way that you are handling your own anxiety. And it's okay for you to show them that you're anxious, but also like let them watch you talk yourself down and come down from it. And of course we are going to, if you've listened to the podcast for any amount of time, you know, we're going to give you practical ideas of how to handle this. So if you can implement the ideas we're going to give you to help your kids, then that's going to help in and of itself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Another way. Yeah.
Before we move on, I do want to mention this. It doesn't mean that you can't have emotions. Right.
Oh,
so
exactly. Yeah.
It's okay. Like, don't be like, oh my gosh, I'm ruining my kid because they saw me cry. Like, no, you've got to be real too, right? If you're faking it, they're going to know that. And the more you internalize and like put on the mask, the worse everything's going to be for you too. So like, be real with your kids, right?
Yes.
But if you have anxiety yourself and you are constantly worst case scenario, panicking and all of that, then that's something you need to deal with, not hide from your child.
Yeah.
But you need to work on that yourself, and maybe you need to get help.
Yes.
And that's okay. It's wonderful to get help, like therapy and, you know, to implement other things. So don't be emotionless, don't hide everything, but also, excuse me, work on your own anxiety.
You all right?
I think I sucked in a bug. No, I'm just kidding. I just...
Might need to clean the house if that's the case.
Yeah. No, I just need water.
So next thing that you can do that will unintentionally raise anxiety in your child is pressuring perfection or performance. Even well-meaning encouragement can become overwhelming when children feel their worth is tied to grades, sports, behavior, appearance, achievement, and of course the list could go on from there.
Yes.
And this is one of the things that we've had to be careful of as, you know, as first of all, as parents, as leaders in a church, we can often be hyper focused on how our kids are representing us. You know, we tend to live in a public forum because of what we do. And so this is something that we've had to kind of think about. I think at times we've made some mistakes and didn't do this well, especially when the girls were younger, thinking about their appearance and their behavior and all of that. And so we've kind of seen this and had to make some changes in our own lives to kind of right some of those things. So we just want to say, like, we're talking about this and we're not saying that we've always done everything exactly correct. We've learned some things.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
But anxiety often grows in environments where mistakes feel unsafe or disappointing. Like if your child is so afraid of making a mistake or getting a bad grade, it's just it breeds anxiety in their lives and in their hearts.
Well, and it's so funny because it's like you can swing the pendulum the other way as well, where you start dismissing or minimalizing feelings. And that is also not going to help your child through this. So statements like, oh, you're fine. So your child comes to you and says like, Mom, I'm really anxious about this test. You're fine. It's going to be fine. Don't worry about it.
Well, and I feel like, correct me if I'm wrong, okay? So I don't want to misspeak. I feel like you are more prone to the pressuring perfection and performance, whereas I am more prone to dismissing and minimizing feelings.
Absolutely. I agree with that 100%. We're at opposite extremes of this, although I think both of us work really hard to like not be like that.
Yeah, because honestly, there are times where the girls have said things about certain issues or whatever, and I'm just like, you're fine. Like, don't worry about it. All these things you're not supposed to say that are written here. I literally could quote me verbatim. Like, it's not a big deal.
It's not a big deal. That's the one I was going to say. It's not a big deal. That's Thomas's line. It's not a big deal. Because I don't like it when he tells me that.
It's like, this is not a big deal.
I'm like, it's a big deal to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm totally have been guilty of this for sure.
Yeah.
This is something I actively try not to do, and sometimes
Right.
I catch myself.
And I think it has somewhat to do with personality, but it has somewhat to do with you being the only man in a house full of 5 girls.
Totally,
Like,
yeah.
all of us are.
I think those things all come into play, but
Absolutely.
still, like it's not helpful
It's
to
not
my
an
kids
excuse. Yeah.
who are sincerely worried or stressed about something for their dad to say, you're fine, no big deal.
Right, exactly. Because, okay, so it's, for instance, it's like when my daughter was crying in the car, didn't want to go in to talk to the restaurant manager, right? In my mind, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is not a big deal. I did this when I was 16 by myself. My mom wasn't in the car. Nobody forced me. I was like, let's go. So in my mind, yeah, I kind of wanted to be like, oh my gosh, stop it. This is not a big deal. But I did not say that. I said things more like this. I know that you're scared, and I know that this is a really hard thing for you, but you have to do it anyway.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I know this sucks, but you got to go. Right? So don't say things like, oh, that's silly.
Yeah.
It's stupid. Don't be stupid. Right? Or like when they're little, big kids don't get scared, or big kids don't cry, or boys don't cry.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those are not going to help your child. It's going to make their anxiety worse. And all these kinds of statements can unintentionally communicate shame for anxiety rather than safety. You are safe with me. And children are going to calm down more effectively when they feel understood and when they feel safe. So what you're doing when you say these kinds of things is the exact opposite of that. And it could actually escalate the anxiety. So remember, I told everybody, and you, Thomas, that we were going to get into practical ways to help.
Yes.
Okay. So now let's shift gears. We're going to go into the practical ways that you can help them, because it's like, okay, we know what the signs are. Okay, we know what not to do now.
Yes.
Let's talk about what to do.
So some of us need to make some changes to kind of help our kids here. So first of all, start by creating predictable routines. And this is good for kids of all ages. Consistency helps children feel emotionally secure because they know what to expect.
That also applies to me. I feel emotionally secure when I know what to expect, and I love routine and I love predictability.
Yes.
Which the funny thing is, our life is so far from predictable.
Yes. And our podcast is becoming unpredictable. How do you feel about all the changes getting ready to happen?
I'm nervous because I don't know what they're going to be, but I also very much trust you. Like, I trust you based on all of our history, that I know, like, your ideas are good and it's going to be fine.
But you're a little anxious.
But I'm anxious about it. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if anxious is the right word, because it's not like I think about it very often. But when I do think about it, I definitely am like, oh, I don't know what's going to happen here. I don't know what to expect. And I don't like that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, definitely discomfort, but I don't know.
Creating these predictable routines will help. So here's what helpful routines look like. Regular meal times, consistent bedtimes, calm morning routines, predictable family rhythms. So you think about what that looks like. And when we talk about regular meal times, that doesn't mean every night dinner at 6 o'clock. But it's like, okay, Monday, my kids typically know what Monday looks like, what Tuesday looks like, Wednesday, so on and so forth. They know what the school year looks like, kind of what the summer is going to look like, and all those sorts of things. So we're kind of putting them in these predictable family rhythms, because even though our lives are mad chaos as far as schedule and all that, our kids overall know what to expect in the different situations that happen in our lives.
Right. Yeah. A lot of you have the benefit, in my opinion, the benefit of working 5 days a week, 9 to 5. You leave at the same time every morning. You get home at the same time every night. And there's a much easier routine there. I mean, like, it's easier to have routine when your job is routine. Both of our jobs are not routine at all.
No.
They're always different. There are a few things that you can always count on, like church at 10 o'clock on Sundays. But other than that, it can change quite a bit week to week and day to day.
So as much as possible, creating that consistency, because children feel safer when life feels stable, especially during stressful seasons or transitions, which is like their entire childhood, right? Childhood is a transition, one long transition.
Yeah.
And so there's things that happen in life that are more difficult. And if you know a stressful season is coming up for your child, the more predictable you can make the rest of their life, the better off they'll be in the long run.
Yeah. All right. The next thing is to stay calm during their big emotions, because they are going to have big emotions, and that's okay. So let your child borrow your emotional regulation. Okay. You can actually bring that emotional regulation to the table for them.
This is kind of one of those things where I feel like I'm good at, as their dad, is providing this kind of like stable emotional presence in their lives. Not saying that you're not doing that, but I feel like this is something. So
Mom's so unstable.
I wanted to make sure
I
clarified that. Okay. But you tend to be a more emotional person than I am by far.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But to know, like, for the most part, my kids know emotionally what they're going to get out of me when they come to me.
Yes. And you're that for me too, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, you're the emotional stability in this home. You are the rock. Part of that is because your heart is stone.
But they know, like, if they're upset and Dad's going to come and I'm going to ask him what's wrong, I'm going to hold him and let him cry and talk it out.
Yep.
And I'm going to be solid throughout it.
Absolutely. No doubt. So when your child is upset, some things you can do is try to lower your voice, slow your responses with them. Stay physically present. Don't walk out of the room. Don't leave and start doing dishes or whatever. Like stay right there. Listen before correcting. Let them talk. Because a calm parent helps teach a child that big feelings are okay.
Yeah.
They are manageable, they're normal, and you're not in trouble for having them. It shows them that they are safe, even if they're upset. This is a safe place to be upset. It also shows them that their emotions don't push other people away.
Yeah.
Because if you're afraid of their emotions, then they're going to understand that, and they're going to try to just hide them and manage them rather than, work through them and learn how to cope and, to have more emotional maturity. And I do want to point to some previous episodes that we have. We did back-to-back episodes. One was emotional integrity and one was emotional maturity. And those episodes were so helpful for me, just like researching them and putting them together and understanding the difference between emotional integrity, which is like being honest about how you feel and like being able to share that with other people. And then emotional maturity, which is handling those emotions without flying off the handle or hurting people or whatever. Yeah. So that would be something that could help you and help your child, because when your child has big emotions, they need you to help lower the situation, to be that calm presence, that rock when they need it.
And that kind of segues into this next thing here, and that is help them name their feelings.
Yeah.
Children often act out of emotions they cannot explain. So teaching them emotional language helps them process their emotions instead of suppressing them. Mm-hmm. So maybe that sounds like something like, you seem frustrated. And talking through them about why they're frustrated. Are you feeling nervous or disappointed? And so you're letting them think about which one of these things are they actually feeling, and then verbalize it themselves. And so they start to recognize, hey, when I feel this way, that's what that emotion is. Mm-hmm.
This is really helpful to train your children to do when they're young, because there are so many adults who can't even do this. And I just did this today with one of our daughters, because we were grocery shopping together. And I was like, hey, sweetie, you seem upset. Are you upset right now? Are you angry? Are you tired? Like, I'm kind of going through things, trying to help guide her to express to me exactly how she's feeling. Because we can take like every emotion we have and then just call it anxiety.
Sure.
And it's like, well, let's differentiate. Let's try to figure out, like, is fear causing anxiety? Because you can be afraid and not have anxiety. So like let's dissect this thing. Let's pull it apart. Let's figure this out. And so that's something that we really try to do in our home with our kids, is to help them name their emotion and understand that like disappointment and sadness are different emotions.
Yeah.
Those are not the same. And when you can start to understand that and teach that emotional language, that really is going to help your kids.
Well, and it reduces how overwhelming emotions can be,
Yeah.
and helps them to build that self-awareness over time, so that as they get older, they're able to recognize their emotions a lot quicker, and then, of course, have the appropriate response to that emotion, so that it's not that their emotions are overwhelming and controlling them. It's they are recognizing their emotions and understanding how they can then control them themselves.
Yeah, and how nice would it be if when they got older and they got married, they were able to look at their spouse and be like, I'm not angry with you, but I am disappointed. Or, no, I'm not disappointed, I'm just sad about it.
Yeah.
Like it would,
Yeah.
that's going to help their marriage so much.
Just their overall life. So.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, another thing that we can do, a practical step, is to encourage courage in small steps. So we talked about this already, that it's not good to just remove every hard thing and to tell them like, oh, you don't like school? Okay, you don't have to go. Like that might not necessarily be the right thing. As you said, for your brother, the best thing that your mom ever did for him was to pull him out of that school.
Yeah, it was a bad situation.
It was.
I mean, it really was.
Yeah.
It was a spiritually abusive situation as
Right.
well. So
in that case, like that was the right choice.
Yeah.
But, and so there may be times in your child's life where like the right thing to do is to say like, okay, we're not going back to that place, or I'm not putting you in that situation. But if we do that all the time, then it's going to cause problems. So, and it's not always that scenario.
Yeah.
Support doesn't mean removing every hard thing. So what we've got to do is help our children to practice manageable bravery. So you're going to be brave here, right? And this is so funny because with our kids, I remember the moments along the way where I had to be like, okay, I need to stop doing this as their mom. It is time for them to do this thing, like ordering their own food.
Yeah, well, you talk about like manageable bravery, and I think helping our children to understand what true bravery actually is. We kind of sometimes have this false idea because of maybe comic books or TV shows or whatever, that heroes never have anxiety, that they're never afraid, and that's what makes them brave. And it's like, no, like bravery is acting in spite of fear. It's conquering your fear and accomplishing the thing that needs to be accomplished.
Do it afraid.
I think once our kids can kind of understand that, that will help them a lot as well.
Absolutely. So, and this is what's hard too about like being a mom, being a dad, is when they're first born, you do everything for them. Like you have to do everything for them or they will die.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's how we start life. We start by doing everything. And then they can do a little more. They can do a little more. And there are certain things that our child begs us to do themselves, right? You think about a toddler, at one point they're like pushing your hand away. No, I want to feed myself.
Yep.
Right? Where they want their own independence. But as they continue to grow, there may be things where they don't want their independence. They want you to do it. And all of a sudden you get to this certain age where like, oh my gosh, I have a 10-year-old who won't cut his own meat, or like won't talk to other people, or and until you get to that moment where you're like, ooh, they're way too old for this.
Yeah.
And it does seem like it's like a moment like that, isn't it? Where you're like, ooh, I messed up. Like, and so things like ordering their own food, where you're like, how do I have a 17-year-old who doesn't know how to order fast food? Like, this is not good.
You either have done very well as a parent, or you've done very poorly as a parent in that scenario.
Right? I know.
If they don't know how to order fast food, I'll let you all decide which is which. But yeah.
But maybe it's things like talking to a teacher. And I remember this moment, and this was so good. I took Isabella to Flagler College, and it was before the first semester of her first year in college. It was in that summertime, and we had to go up there and talk to the counselor who helps them
kind of the student advisor.
Their classes, yeah. So we go up there, and it's like everything we've done so far has been like me and her going into an office. We sit down, we talk about it. And we both walk into the office and the advisor is like, "Oh, Mom, do you mind waiting out in the outside?" And the fear in Isabella's eyes, like,
Yeah.
what? You know, and I'm like, "Oh, yeah, that's really good." And she looks at Isabella and she's like, "As you start your college journey, like you're going to not have Mom here, so we're just going to practice that today." And she was real sweet. And Isabella was like, "Oh, okay." And she like resigned herself to it very quickly and she was fine. But in that initial like moment, you could see anxiety. But I walked away and actually I went out and I read one of my books on my phone and I was like, "Oh, sweet. I get to just read my book now." And it was really good.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things where like you've got to get to that point where it's like, "Oh, it's time for them to do this on their own,"
Yeah.
even if it's scary.
Well, and for those of you that don't know, we homeschooled our kids for most of their life, and by we, I mean Lysandra was their teacher, and I was their principal. And like most schools, you don't see the principal unless you're in trouble. So when we moved to Florida here, Florida has a great homeschool program through the state, and they started doing that. And the state pays teachers to oversee homeschool students in subjects. And so as our kids get signed up for their class and whatever, they would come to Lysandra and I and ask questions about this subject, that subject, their homework or whatever. And it was like, have you talked to your teacher?
Yeah.
Have you reached out to your teacher? And as things got started, especially that first semester, like they did not want to reach out to their teacher. Like they were afraid to. And it was one of those things where we finally had to be like, "Listen, don't come talk to me and ask me until you've talked to your teacher." Because that's going to be the first thing I'm going to ask you anyway. And they finally built up the strength to do that and encouraged to do that. And of course, now they've been thriving. We've got
They're very independent.
3 that have graduated and have done well. And Violet's entering high school and she's doing well. So,
well, and it's like I had to retrain myself where I had to say, "I will not help you."
yeah,
And that's really hard to do as a parent, but like I had to do that in that moment.
that's what was best for them.
And so figuring out what is that small step, it might be trying a new activity. Like I'm terrified to do something new, to go into a new group. And like I think about parents who they want their kids to go to youth group and their kids are terrified of youth group and they force them to go. And I'm like, "Good job, Mom."
Yeah.
Like really, like good job. Because you know this is going to be good for them. You know in the long run it's going to be a good thing. But they don't want to go. They're afraid to go. You got to push them. You got to push them sometimes. So like thinking about the small steps, it doesn't have to be everything all at once, but how can I help a little bit? Another thing is returning after failure or disappointment. So maybe it's a test that they failed and they're going to retake it. Or maybe it's a social situation where like it didn't go well, but we're trying again.
Yeah.
Whatever that may be. Celebrate the effort, celebrate the courage. Help them to understand it's not about things turning out perfectly. It's about you trying. It's about you going back in there. Because confidence grows when children experience, "I was nervous, but I did it anyway."
Yeah.
And you can even say that. And I've done that so many times with the girls where I've been like, "All right, remember last time? Remember how afraid you were? You went in and you did it. And what was it like? It was great. Yeah, remember that?" So bringing up those past times when like they did it afraid and it was fine. Helping them to remember that because they'll forget that. When they're anxious about this thing right in front of them, they have no recollection of it being just fine in the future.
Yeah. So we're talking about encouraging courage in small steps here. And as followers of Jesus, we want to share with you some verses that you should be memorizing and you should encourage your children to memorize as well when it comes to dealing with anxiety. And the first one that comes to mind for me is 1 Peter 5:7 that says, "Cast all your anxieties on him because he cares for you." And often we are guilty of carrying all these anxieties which overwhelm us and we're not meant to carry, when he says, "Hey, just give them to me." And he cares about us. And we need to make sure we're teaching our kids that God cares about you. He cares about what's going on in your life. He cares about your classes. He cares about your activities and all the emotions and the things that you're feeling. And he wants you to give your anxieties to him so that you don't have to carry them.
That verse is so comforting for children, but also for us as adults. This was a verse that I had my kids memorize when they were tiny.
Oh, little toddlers.
Yeah, they could barely talk, but they could say this verse. We had it memorized in KJV, which is what I'm going to share, but I'll also share this ESV.
Okay.
So it's Psalm 56:3, and it was, "What time I am afraid, I will trust in thee." So ESV is, "When I am afraid, I put my trust in you." So just that was such a simple thing for them. Like every time they were afraid, I had them say the verse. And by the way, I had fears as well. I was a mom. I was younger. I was terrified of our basement.
Oh, you were.
Terrified.
Yeah, in Iowa, yeah. It was a dungeon.
It was a dungeon. It was like limestone walls, cement floors that were like cracked and gross. There was this really creepy cellar.
It was a cellar,
root cellar, I guess is what it's called.
Yep,
yeah. And it was just terrifying. And the steps were like wooden slatted steps, so like I felt like somebody could hide under those steps so
Grab
easily.
your leg out from underneath.
Absolutely.
Totally.
And of course, that's where my washer and dryer was. There's 6 of us. I had to do laundry a lot. And I would literally walk down those stairs and out loud, I would be saying, "What time I am afraid, I will trust in thee. What time I am afraid, I will trust in thee." And I would repeat that out loud. And my kids saw me modeling it. And I also made them do it. So it's like they were getting it from both sides for sure.
What time I am afraid, I will trust in thee.
That is exactly what they sounded like.
Yep.
Great impersonation. This next verse is one of my favorites, babe.
Well, it's more than one verse.
It's a passage.
Great passage out of Philippians chapter number 4, verses 6 and 7. This looks like...
And 8.
Yeah, I was going to say, this
8's
looks
there
longer
too.
than 7, but...
And like I would say we could do a whole podcast episode on this passage in Philippians 4 through 8, 6 through 8, but we won't dissect it too much today.
But for those of you who are not familiar, here's what it says. "Do not be anxious about anything." And this is a great thing to teach our kids, right? But there's a reason why we don't have to be anxious. Mm-hmm. "Do not be anxious about anything, but in everything, by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving, let your requests be made known to God. And the peace of God, which surpasses all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus." So you notice that what's supposed to take place there. Like, don't be anxious. Instead, go to God in prayer. This is like 1 Peter 5:7, the long version. And he says, when you do that, God's peace is going to guard your heart and your mind. And then he continues on and says, "Finally, brothers, whatever is true, whatever is honorable, whatever is just, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is commendable, if there is any excellence, if there is anything worthy of praise, think about these things." And so he's saying, hey, change what you're thinking about. Stop thinking about the things that make you afraid and anxious. Start thinking about the positive things that build trust and courage in your life. And so one of the things, the practical ways we can do that is stop listening and watching the things that create anxiety.
Oh, yeah.
Like I had to tell my mom would watch the news 24/7 and she suffers a little bit from anxiety. And so I'd have to tell her, just turn the news off.
Yes.
Stop watching the news all day. You don't need to watch that.
Watch your Hallmark movies that make you happy.
Exactly. Yeah. Watch those things, surround yourself, listen to the things that will build up strength and courage, peace, and trust in your life.
Absolutely.
So some great verses there that if we learn to apply them practically and teach our kids to apply them practically will go a long way in helping them deal with their anxiety. But that's one of the ways that we can encourage them.
Absolutely. And, they might not be able to memorize all of Philippians 4, 6 through 8. That's a lot of verses, which if they're older, they certainly can. But if they're younger, maybe they can't memorize all of that. So pick out scriptures that are smaller that they can memorize. Maybe it is 1 Peter 4:7 or whatever it may be. But verses that will help them. 5:7, thank you. And then also, maybe they can't memorize it, but could you print it out? Could you put it on their mirror? Could you put it in their lunchbox? Could you put it on the dash of their car? Like, where can we put this at whatever age they are whatever reading level they are, how can we get the scripture into their lives? And like we were getting scripture into our kids' lives by like playing it on the CD player as they went to bed.
They're going to talk about this in episode 300 next week, so pay attention to that.
You'll hear all about that. But like our goal was to get scripture into our kids. And when you do, it helps them with anxiety and other things. And we've got to wrap up this episode, so we want to share the last practical idea that we want to encourage you to do to help your child with anxiety, and that is to build connection in small, everyday moments. Their relationship with you is going to bring safety.
Yeah.
And safety is built through ordinary interactions over time. It's consistency. It's like you're always there. You're always there for them. They know that you're going to be there. So maybe it is that eating together. Maybe it's every night I know I'm going to have a little bedtime conversation. My mom's going to sit at the side of my bed and going to talk to me. Every night I know my dad's going to pray with me. And we're going to talk. But have one-on-one time with each child. Now, I don't know how many kids you have, whether you have one child or you have 7. Making individual time for them is so important, and it is possible.
Yeah.
It is not impossible.
Well, and I think about, I forget her name, but Charles Wesley's wife. They had like 1 billion kids, 13 or something like that.
I want to say Elizabeth.
She made time.
Suzanne,
yeah, Wesley. That is it. Yeah.
Suzanne.
And she made a little bit of time at least every single day for each of her kids, which I think is remarkable.
13 kids.
Like 13 kids,
wow.
And yet somehow she found a way to do it. So you can do it. We can do it. Mm-hmm. We'd have to be intentional,
Yep.
though.
And we're not telling you how often this needs to happen, but there needs to be regular one-on-one time, right?
Yeah.
Shared laughter. Like, bring joy into the home. Positive music. Good things on television, right? Like, if your child suffers from anxiety, they should not be watching thrillers.
Yeah.
That's not a good thing. Thrillers are created to produce anxiety in the viewers. Like, that's the goal. Why are we letting our kids who struggle with anxiety watch that stuff?
One, and I think about this for us, we didn't really think much about it. And one of our daughters was having some issues, and we just said, hey, no more watching movies like that or videos like that.
Yep, it's out.
And literally, there was a vast improvement pretty quickly. Yeah.
Yeah, it was amazing.
So like what they are taking in
right.
does affect them in a great way.
And this should also, you should be monitoring their reading. Like what books are they reading? Because there could be books that they're reading that are bringing in anxiety. Or maybe they're very political. Like we have kids who are, not us personally, but there are kids in the world who are very political at a young age. And if they are constantly absorbing and watching reels and all the political stuff and the back and forth, that's going to create anxiety. So think about what's happening in your home. Ask meaningful questions to your kids. Like, when you have that one-on-one time, when you spend time with them, the meal times, the family meetings, the bedtime routines, really have some meaningful conversations, and that comes from open-ended questions.
So here's some questions that will help your kids to open up, just to kind of give you some practical ideas. What was the best part of your day?
I love that question.
And I love that it starts by focusing in on the positive, helping them to see the positive things that are happening. What felt hard today? Right? These are not like, how was school? Fine.
Right.
So this is digging deeper. What felt hard today? When did you feel most stressed? Which I like this because it helps them to identify the things that bring difficulty.
Yeah, and it helps you as a parent because like now you know that thing over there that you didn't know was a big deal is a real big deal to them.
Yeah. What helped you feel better? It's a great question. Like, yeah, you were stressed. You had a difficult time. What helped you feel better? What do you wish I understood? And I like that question a lot. It gives our children an opportunity to teach us a little bit more about who they are and what they need from us. So, but children are more likely to share with us when conversations feel safe instead of interrogating.
Absolutely. Yep. So one thing that we need to do is we need to normalize anxiety. Like, it's okay. It's normal to have anxiety sometimes. And just stay calm. Don't shame your child for having anxiety or minimalize it or any of those things. Just be that steady parent who can guide your child through it.
Yeah.
And if your child struggles with fear, overthinking, emotional overwhelm, or anxious behaviors, now you have some practical tools. You have some biblical encouragement to help them navigate that anxiety in a healthy way. Let's implement it. Let's bring it in. And if you want more help, we have a bonus resource we want to offer you. called Helping Your Child Through Anxiety. And it's just a little guide we can send to you for free. Simply email us at info@familymeeting.org and we will shoot that over to you.
So family meeting tonight, you're going to talk about anxiety with your kids. And depending on how old they are, will dictate the type of conversation that you're going to have with them about it. And then we encourage you to share those verses with them. Give them the scriptural tools to be able to fight off that anxiety and to put their trust ultimately not in us, but in God.
Amen.
So good conversation with your kids tonight.
Thank you guys for joining us today. Please go and subscribe to the Family Meeting podcast from your favorite podcast provider. And if you found this information helpful, please share this episode on social media and invite your friends and family to listen in with you.
To find more content and information Lysandra and I provide, you can go to our website, familymeeting.org, or email us at info@familymeeting.org. If you'd like to shoot us a text or call us, you can send a voice message at 904-257-3062.
And we want to invite you to join us for our next family meeting, our 300th family meeting.
It's crazy.
What?
300. Top 1% of podcasts.
Yeah, baby. And we are going to welcome back our very favorite guests in the entire world. Our 4 daughters, Catherine, Isabella, Abigail, and Violet, will be with us next week. Don't miss it. Episode 300. We are going to be talking about family transitions because we are living it.
Yes.
In every aspect of our family, we are having transitions, and we're going to talk to you about that and just have an awesome family meeting with the 6 of us.
Thanks for joining us today for this family meeting. Have a great week, everybody. This meeting is adjourned.
Happy 299.
299, talking about
In the
anxiety. What has been a help to you as you seek to guide your kids that are dealing with anxiety? Do you have resources? Do you have therapists and stuff that you recommend?
Yeah.
Drop all those links, references, tips, advice in the comments there because it will be such a great help to somebody else. Yeah. We'd love to continue this conversation with you there. Until episode 300, we'll see you next time.